YouTube script. Doctor warns. For masturbation secrets old men wish they knew sooner, life lessons from the elderly. Hey there, my friends. Welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into the art of living well, staying healthy, and embracing the wisdom that comes with age. I'm your host, and today, I'm sitting down with you like an old friend, ready to share some heartfelt life lessons that I wish I'd known decades ago. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, so you don't miss out on our weekly doses of inspiration, health tips, and timeless wisdom for living your best life in your golden years. Now, let's get real for a moment. Today's topic might raise a few eyebrows, but it's one that's incredibly important for men, especially men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. The title of this video is Doctor Warns. For masturbation secrets old men wish they knew sooner. Yes, we're going there. And don't worry, this isn't about shock value. This is about breaking the silence on a topic that's often misunderstood, especially as we age, and sharing practical, science-backed wisdom that can improve your health, your confidence, and your quality of life. You see, I've spent years talking to doctors, researchers, and wise elders, men who've lived long, full lives and learned a thing or two along the way. And one thing I've heard time and again is this. There are certain truths about our bodies, our habits, and our health that we wish we'd understood when we were younger. Masturbation is one of those topics. It's not just a young man's game. It's a natural part of life that can have surprising benefits or risks if we don't approach it with wisdom. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's have an honest, heart-to-heart talk about 4 secrets that older men wish they'd known sooner. These are lessons rooted in science, share with care, and deliver with the kind of perspective you only get after decades of living. And stick around until the end, because I'll also share a powerful quote that's been guiding me lately, plus a few practical tips to take these lessons to heart. Let's dive in. Secret number 1. Masturbation is normal and can be a health booster. Let's start with the first secret. Masturbation is not only normal, it can actually be good for you. Yes, even as you get older. I know. For a lot of us, especially those of us raised in more conservative times, this topic was taboo. Maybe you grew up hearing that it was wrong, shameful, or something you grow out of. But here's the truth. Science has come a long way, and what we've learned is that masturbation is a natural part of human biology, no matter your age. I remember talking to my friend George, a spry 72-year-old who's been married for 45 years. George is one of those guys who always seems to have a twinkle in his eye and a spring in his step. One day, over a beer, he leaned in and said, back in my 40s, I thought I was supposed to stop, that. But my doctor told me it's one of the reasons I'm still kicking it. He laughed, but he was serious. His doctor had explained that masturbation, in moderation, can have real health benefits. Here's what the research says. Studies, like one from Harvard Medical School, have found that regular ejaculation, whether through sex or masturbation, can lower the risk of prostate cancer. In fact, men who ejaculate frequently, about 4 to 7 times a week, in their 40s and 50s may reduce their prostate cancer risk by up to 30%. That's not a small number. Folks, your prostate is a gland that can cause trouble as you age, and keeping it active can help flush out toxins and reduce inflammation. But it's not just about your prostate. Masturbation can also be a stress reliever. When you, take care of business, your body releases endorphins and dopamine, those feel-good chemicals that help you relax and sleep better. For us middle-aged and older guys, stress is a silent killer. It messes with our blood pressure, our heart health, and our mood. A little me time can be a natural way to hit the reset button. Now, I'm not saying you need to overdo it. Moderation is key. But the point is, don't let shame or outdated myths stop you from embracing a natural part of who you are. It's like eating well or going for a walk. It's just one more way to take care of yourself. Secret number 2. Too much of a good thing can backfire. Now, let's talk about the flip side. Secret number 2. Too much masturbation can cause problems, especially as you age. This is something a lot of older men wish they'd understood sooner, because it's not just about physical health. It's about emotional and relational health, too. I'll never forget a conversation I had with my buddy Tom, a retired firefighter who's now in his late 60s. Tom's a big, tough guy, but he opened up to me one day about how, in his 50s, he got into a habit of using pornography and masturbating almost daily. At first, it felt like a harmless escape from the stress of work and family life. But over time, he noticed it was affecting his marriage. He felt less connected to his wife, less interested in intimacy with her, and even started struggling with performance issues. I didn't realize, he told me, that I was rewiring my brain. Tom's story isn't unique. Doctors and therapists have been sounding the alarm about this for years. When you overdo it, especially if you're relying on pornography, your brain can get hooked on the quick dopamine hits. Over time, this can desensitize you to real-life intimacy. It's called porn-induced erectile dysfunction, and it's a real issue for men of all ages, but especially for us older guys whose bodies aren't as resilient as they used to be. There's also a physical side to this. Excessive masturbation can lead to fatigue, lower testosterone levels, and even pelvic pain in some cases. Dr. John, a urologist I spoke with, explained that overdoing can strain the pelvic muscles and cause discomfort, especially if you're not giving your body enough time to recover. For men in their 50s and beyond, this can also mess with your libido, making it harder to enjoy intimacy with a partner. The lesson here? Balance is everything. Masturbation is like a good glass of whiskey. Enjoy it in moderation, and it's a treat. Overindulge, and it can cause more harm than good. If you're finding it hard to cut back, especially if pornography is part of the equation, don't be afraid to talk to a therapist or a trusted friend. There's no shame in asking for help to get back on track. Secret number 3. It's not just physical, it's emotional, too. Here's the third secret, and it's one that really hits home for a lot of older men. Masturbation isn't just a physical act. It's deeply tied to your emotional health. This is something we don't talk about enough, but it's a game changer when you understand it. Let me share a story about my Uncle Ray, who passed away a few years ago at 85. Ray was a wise old soul, the kind of guy who always had a story to tell and a lesson to share. One day, when I was in my 30s, he pulled me aside and said, "Son, take care of your heart. Not just the one that pumps blood, but the one that feels." I didn't fully get it at the time, but now I do. Ray was talking about emotional health, and he believed that everything we do, including how we handle our private habits, impacts how we feel about ourselves. For a lot of men, especially as we age, masturbation can become a coping mechanism. Maybe you're stressed about work, worried about your health, or feeling lonely. It's easy to turn to something that feels good in the moment. But here's what older men wish they'd known. If you're using masturbation to numb emotional pain, it's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. It might feel good temporarily, but it doesn't address the root issue. Research backs this up. Psychologists say that compulsive masturbation can be a sign of underlying issues like anxiety, depression, or unresolved trauma. And for us older guys, those issues can pile up: retirement, health scares, losing friends or loved ones. If you're finding that you're turning to masturbation more than feels healthy, it might be time to pause and ask yourself, what am I really feeling? What do I need right now? This isn't about guilt-tripping anyone. It's about self-awareness. One practical tip is to journal about how you're feeling before or after you masturbate. It sounds simple, but it can help you spot patterns. Are you doing it out of boredom, stress, loneliness? Once you know the why, you can start addressing it, maybe by calling a friend, picking up a hobby, or even talking to a counselor. Taking care of your emotional health is just as important as taking care of your body. Secret number 4. Communication is key with yourself and your partner. Finally, the 4th secret. Communication is everything, both with yourself and, if you're in a relationship, with your partner. This is a big one, because as we age, our bodies and needs change, and being open about those changes can make all the difference. Let's talk about self-communication first. As men, we're often taught to ignore our feelings or push through discomfort. But when it comes to masturbation, you gotta listen to your body. Are you doing it because it feels good and leaves you refreshed? Or does it leave you feeling drained, guilty, or disconnected? Be honest with yourself. If it's not serving you, it's okay to rethink your habits. Maybe you cut back, Maybe you focus on quality over quantity, or maybe you explore other ways to feel good, like exercise, meditation, or creative hobbies. Now, if you're in a relationship, this conversation gets even more important. I talked to a couple, Mike and Linda, who've been married for 35 years. Mike admitted that in his 50s, he was masturbating more than he wanted to because he felt embarrassed about his changing libido. He didn't know how to talk to Linda about it. Linda, on the other hand, felt hurt because she thought Mike wasn't interested in her anymore. It wasn't until they sat down and had an honest talk that they realized they were both just scared of being vulnerable. Here's the thing. Your partner isn't a mind reader. If masturbation is part of your life, that's okay, but keeping it a secret or letting it replace intimacy with your partner can create distance. Dr. Sarah, a sex therapist, told me that couples who talk openly about their needs, desires, and habits are happier and more connected. It doesn't have to be awkward. You could say something like, "Hey, I've been thinking about how our bodies are changing as we age. Can we talk about what feels good for us right now?" That opens the door to a real conversation. And here's a bonus tip. Masturbation doesn't have to be a solo act. For some couples, incorporating it into their intimate life can be a fun, bonding experience. It's all about what works for you and your partner. The key is to keep the lines of communication open, honest, and judgment-free. Well, my friends, there you have it. For masturbation secrets that older men wish they'd known sooner. To recap, masturbation is normal and can be a health booster, but too much can backfire. It's not just physical. It's tied to your emotional health. And communication with yourself and your partner is the key to keeping it healthy and balanced. I hope this conversation has given you some food for thought. Maybe it sparked a new perspective, or maybe it's reminded you to be kinder to yourself. Aging is a journey, and it's one we're all on together. The more we talk openly about these topics, the more we can learn from each other and live fuller, healthier lives. Before I go, let me leave you with a quote that's been on my mind lately. It's from the poet Ralph Waldo Emerson. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Be yourself, my friends. Embrace your body, your needs, and your wisdom. And don't be afraid to keep learning along the way. If you found this video helpful, please give a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. And let me know in the comments, what's one life lesson you wish you'd known sooner? I read every comment, and I love hearing your stories. Until next time, keep living well, keep learning, and keep shining. I'll see you in the next video.